Now, by far, one of the largest used UI elements in all of game design is the timer, right? You could look back to just about any sort of adventure or beat the clock game, and somewhere in some form is some sort of timer. Complete this task before time expires, or complete this task as fast as you can in the case of racing games. I'm going to show you in this tutorial how to, which may span 1 or 2 videos, how to create a timer that counts up and a timer that counts down so that you could fit the need of any game that you create. Now, I've sort of done a little bit of pre-adjusting, let's just say, of this scene to set this up for you here. So what I've done is I've created a canvas game object. If you don't know how to do that, please watch some of the prior tutorials in this course. I've added 2 text components. I've set them to overflow, change their color to red. Now, this second text element, I'm going to uncheck here. I'm going to show you one and then the other. I don't want to show you 2 at the same time, because that could get a bit overwhelming. I'm going to jump to my main camera here, and you see that I have this timer script. I'm going to double click on it. I already created this timer script, so please create that script in C#. And I can show you how to do this in JavaScript in actually another tutorial, which would be good as well for those of you that want to code in JavaScript. But for now, in the C# script, you'll notice I added using UnityEngine.ui at the top here, and I'm actually just going to comment out. So here's how you would comment something out. You would highlight it, you would go up here to edit, format, toggle line comments. Now I'm actually going to comment everything that has to do with timer 2. So right now the reason I'm doing this is, like I said, I just want to show you one thing at a time. So I've commented those out. So I'll just add in my own personal comment here. By adding these 2 forward slashes here, I show that it's a comment, and that basically that means that Unity is just going to think that these are notes to myself and not actual code. So now let's take a note here. I have a float variable called timer1, a string variable called minutes, a string variable called seconds, and a public text object called text. So if you watch some of my last tutorials, you know that this is just so that we can reference the UI object text and modify it. What we're going to be modifying with is minutes and seconds, and timer1 is actually going to be what's keeping track of the time within our game. The start function is used for initialization to give variables their default values. I've set timer1 equal to 0f, okay, and you don't necessarily have to put this f here. Anything besides 0, like if I said 1 or 0.1, I would have to put the f here. With a 0 you don't have to, but it is good practice because you have to put an f after everything else for a floating point value. So that's what I've done here. Minutes I've set equal to just a space, and seconds to a space, so I've put these double quotation marks. I've just put a space in between because it's just their default value. These don't matter. You can say whatever you want. For this default value here. What's really important, you'll notice that this isn't the update function. This is the fixed update function. The reason I'm doing this is because sometimes a frame takes longer to render in Unity. If you have a really physics-intensive game, some frames are going to take longer to render than other frames, depending on how intense the graphics are, the physics interactions between the objects are. The reason I'm using fixed update is because this will keep a consistent time call between each call to this function. So if I was just using update, there could be a difference, a slight difference, in which when that function was called, when it updates my timer. When you're making a timer, you want to make sure that it's as consistent as possible, so that it's totally between one call and the next, you're actually timing each second. So by using this fixed update here, we're ensuring consistency. I'm then saying timer1, which we initialized up here to 0f, or 0 floating point, right? 0 floating point. We have here timer1 plus equals, which is going to add it each time this function is called. We're going to add to it time.fixed delta time. Okay, and if you're using fixed delta time, we're looking up here fixed update. This is to just show a consistent, again, there is a function called time.delta time. We're doing fixed delta time because we want, again, a consistency for our timer. Now, minutes here is equal to mathf.floor, so this is going to round down timer1 divided by 60 to string with the format of 2 places, right? Similarly, we're going to say seconds equal mathf.floor, round it down, timer 1 modulus, so the leftover when this is divided. We're not doing integer division, we have one forward slash here, which means that we're actually going to have some sort of remainder. Whatever that remainder is going to be our seconds displayed in this format here with the 2 zeros. Kind of like on a clock, you have 00 for the hour, colon 00. This is just putting our text in this format. Then we're saying text, which we made up here and we initialized. We could initialize somewhere if we wanted. We could go down here and say text.text equals something, but we've already initialized that from the inspector itself when we've typed something into that text there. Dot text equals minutes plus colon here with a space on each side just for formatting purposes, seconds. The plus here is called the concatenation operator. It concatenates one string to another. So now that we have 3 strings here, instead of displaying them all differently, we're adding these together. We're basically just smushing those strings together. That's why we're adding these spaces here so it looks nice. These spaces on either side of this colon. So let's take a look at what this script does. We're going to hit the X here, and it's going to say, do we want to save? Yes, we do. When we hit play here, you're going to see that this starts counting up second by second. So depending on the type of game you're making, you could make it where once you reach 2 minutes, something happens, or once you reach 15 seconds, something happens. Or if they don't get somewhere within a certain set time, game over. So those are examples of the functionality you could use this for. In the next video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use this sort of same functionality, but how to make a countdown timer, a timer that counts down. Once you've made one that counts up, making one that counts down is fairly easier, but there is still a few variations that I'm going to go over with you.